Put your fucking phone away, Sarah. We're rolling.
Please hold.
We're rolling.
No, we're not.
We are. The camera's going. This is going to be in the film.
I'm texting my grandpa Bud, who provided you grapes.
Say hi.
Hello.
Grapes.
Grapes. The chickens.
Chicken. So this is hard lemonade. It's made now. And today we're bottling it. By us. Because I've been staring at this underneath my desk for 2 months now. Life happens.
We've been busy.
We've been busy. Now, since you've seen this last, a few things have happened to it, okay? So check this video out. So about a month after we started this, it was done. Fermentation took a little bit longer than I thought it would, but that's okay. Zooming into the fruit, you can see it's a little discolored, a little bruised up. That's normal. That means the yeast worked on them and got the flavors. And then we took a gravity reading, came out to 1.000. All right, so totally dry, no sugar, fermentation succeeded. To calculate alcohol with this, the easiest way is going to be to go on to brewersfriend.com/ABV-calculator and punch in the relevant information. You're going to want to put in your starting gravity, which was 1.060, and your final gravity, which was 1.000, and then it will spit out the alcohol for you, 7.88%. So that's pretty good. It means we have a decently powerful hard lemonade. Now we are racking it into secondary out of our primary container, getting it off the fruit. I'm just using an auto-siphon, which I pumped a couple times, and then I have the vessel into which I'm siphoning well below the other one. That's how gravity makes it work. And it's just working, it's just going. You didn't see me pump it because I can't hold the camera and pump it at the same time. Okay, now it's done. And you can see we were able to fill up a 1 gallon carboy all the way to the top, all the way into the neck. That's what you wanna do. Then we added what's called wine tannin. This is just a powdered form of that stuff in black tea which makes it taste bitter. In small amounts, it adds body or complexity to wine or cider or whatever. So we used 1/8 of a teaspoon. Don't use more, otherwise it'll make it taste bitter and gross, but just a little bit is the sweet spot. You just pop your airlock off and you plop it right in. And you want to leave it in there for about 2 weeks before you rack it or anything like that, so that the lemonade can extract all of the flavors from the tannins. Then we added our lavender, as I mentioned we would do. We're going to add 1/2 a teaspoon of lavender. Well, welcome back. Hope you like that. So here's the thing. The reason that this might have been ruined is that we left the lavender in there. I think it's been over a month now.
Miles made mistakes.
I did make mistakes.
Just kidding.
Honestly, it might be more like 6 weeks, which is for extraction of any kind of spice in your wine, mead, cider, or hard lemonade, 6 weeks is almost always too long. But maybe it's not. Who knows? We're going to taste it, and we're going to do whatever we have to do to fix it, and then we're going to bottle it.
Hopefully we didn't mess up.
Yeah. It smells really good.
That's good.
Yeah, no.
It's a little sour.
It is sour, but that's normal. Like that's
slightly.
That's how unsweetened hard lemonades are going to taste. Because the gravity on this was 1.00, which means
low gravity.
It means no sugar. The sugar fermented out. So when you have a hard lemonade with a lot of lemon juice and acid without sugar to balance, it's going to taste really sour. But it doesn't taste like a block of lemonade soap. Like it doesn't taste like a ton of lemonade. I'm sorry, I fucked that up. It doesn't taste like a block of lavender. I actually don't really taste the lavender. I don't know if that.
I think it's faint. I taste
faint.
it.
You do?
Like,
I like it.
We should try another sip.
Yeah. I like how tangy and sour it is, but it does need some sweetness. We need a sweet hard lemonade.
Yeah, we do.
So, what we're going to do is we're going to rack it using what tool, Sarah?
The long tube.
That's right. Also called a siphon. You did know what it was, and that's really all that matters.
Yes,
I don't care if you can label them. You know the stuff. We're going to siphon it from here into a pitcher, and then we're going to add sugar to sweeten it and stir it up. That's what we're going to do next. So, we'll see you in a second.
Stay tuned.
So once again, we're using an auto-siphon. If you want to buy one, there is a link in the description of this video along with links to everything else that I use. You just want to make sure you have your original vessel elevated above in the thing into which you're siphoning, in our case a pitcher, and that's how it works. You pump it and then boom, it happens. We siphon because we don't want to expose our product to oxygen, which may strip away flavors, turn it into vinegar, all that nasty stuff. And we're siphoning it into the pitcher because I'm gonna add sugars and stuff, and I'm gonna stir it up, and you don't wanna stir it when you have all the gunk and the lees in the original vessel. It would just make it cloudy again. Wow, that was fast.
Wicked fast.
So what are we doing next, Sarah? We're sweetening it. We are not sweetening it with regular table sugar.
No.
We are sweetening it with erythritol. For those who don't know, erythritol is a non-fermentable sugar. It's a sugar alcohol. The reason we're not just adding a bunch of sugar into here to sweeten it is that we also want to carbonate it. And if we added just a bunch of sugar with some yeast for the carbonation in the bottles, those bottles would eventually explode. So we're adding a sweetener that cannot be fermented for the sweetness, and then we're adding a teeny tiny bit of fermentable sugar, which will then become the carbonation. So we're eventually gonna add 2 types of sugar, the one that's non-fermentable for the sweetening, and the one that is fermentable for the carbonation. But we will explain that more along the way. Thank you, Sarah. That was a good gesture. So I like to add erythritol in 1/4 cup increments, 1/4 cup at a time, and then we just keep adding it until it's just sweet enough, because I hate back sweetening, because then you cannot take any of the sugar out.
You cannot.
But erythritol is also, it tastes like white table sugar. It's pretty close, but it is not as sweet, like pound for pound. It's less sweet, so you have to add more of it to get the same sweetness. When I made hard lemonade last time, I ended up adding 1.5 cups. So we're just gonna start with 1/2 cup. I know what I just said about 4th cup increments, but I'm pretty confident it's gonna be within the neighborhood of 1.5 cups. So we're gonna add 1/2 cup, stir it up, taste it, and then see. Thanks, Sarah.
Gotta get all the sugar.
Yep. Okay, Sarah. Now notice I'm stirring it real carefully because we're right there at the top.
You guys should see how full Miles likes his coffee cups.
I forgot about that one. That's an old meme, but a good one.
Very, very, very brim.
I gotta
And
get.
it'll spill it everywhere.
I gotta get all the coffee I can.
I think we need more. But it's not bad.
Yeah. I feel like we can keep going.
I agree.
Yeah.
I just want to keep drinking.
Quick, Sarah. Give me 2 fun and interesting facts about you.
Okay. I don't know if this is fun or interesting, but my favorite band is Rainbow Kitten Surprise. And that is my dream concert. Miles, quick. Name 2 facts about yourself that are fun and interesting.
My favorite color is maroon, and I used to collect coins as a kid.
I also have a coin collection.
Really? Like
Yeah.
foreign coins?
I have foreign coins, and then I just have cool American coins.
Me too. Or coins and foreign money. I loved collecting that as a kid.
I drink too much.
You know how this sharing tasting thing goes.
Whoop. But it's good. I like that.
It is. Here's the thing. We're right at the edge where we could.
We will.
Okay. So the last one, I did 1.5 cups. If we do one more, it'll be 1 1/4 cups.
Okay.
So I think that's fine. Now here's the thing about the taste, which we haven't said yet, but it said explicitly. The honey. We made this with honey.
Oh, yeah.
That didn't really come through
No,
it was
I forgot
fermented.
about the honey.
Yeah. And so honestly, the honey character was lost. And I thought about, well, maybe if we back sweeten with honey and then we just don't carbonate it. But I was like, well, I want to show, we said we would carbonate it.
I agree.
But yeah, once we ferment it, I think with lemon juice, that pretty much overpowers any other subtle characteristics. Because once you ferment it, the sugar in the honey is gone.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not left with a lot of, that which is honey taste. So, I think the lemon juice takes the front seat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't drink all of it.
I like it. I think it's perfect.
Yep. That will get you up if you're not careful. So.
You're gonna have to bleep.
Yep. Okay. Now what we want to do is add our fermentable priming sugar.
Yeah, we do.
You're going to add 25 grams of white table sugar because, there you go, that stuff. Because all of the erythritol we just added will not be fermented out. So when we bottle this, we need to give whatever residual yeast are still circulating, we need to give them some sugar to turn into CO2. That is what carbonation is. When you close off a fermentation without an airlock, the CO2 gets trapped in the bottles. That's what we're going to do. So you want to do 25 grams. Don't do any more to try and get more carbonation, because if you add 50 grams, 100 grams, these bottles might explode from too much pressure. So it's a balancing act. That's right. With our food scale here, Sarah is going to weigh out 25 grams. Grams. Perfect.
I did it.
She did. Now just pour that in. One trick to make bottle carbonation go a little bit faster is to pour just a little bit of fresh yeast over your wine, cider, mead, hard lemonade right before you bottle it. Because then you can increase the yeast cell count in each bottle and so make the carbonation happen faster. You don't have to do it, but it's going to take like 1 month if you do this compared with maybe 3 months if you don't. So we're just going to add a little bit, sprinkle it over the top. And we're using a champagne yeast, Red Star Premier Cuvée.
Tagged below?
Sure.
Miles, rate all your guests on awkwardest to least awkward. Just kidding, that's mean.
I won't be in the film, but I'll tell you.
Okay.
So here it is. Here's the little packet, and we're just pouring just a pinch. I couldn't tell you exactly how much, but that's okay.
I feel like you're gonna do more than a pinch.
Shut up. Now it's ready to siphon into bottles. Believe it or not, it's called a bottle filler. So what it allows you to do, you attach it onto the end of your siphon, and when this little stem valve is pushed in, liquid flows. And then when you pull up and the stem valve pops out, the liquid flow stops. So you can move from bottle to bottle without spilling in between.
I bet you'll spill a little.
Shut up. I bet you're right. It's inevitable when making wine. Bottling is exactly like siphoning or racking. It's just siphoning into bottles, okay? Make sure all of your bottles are sanitized. That's extremely important before you bottle them up. And then you want to elevate the bucket, the bottling bucket, above the bottles you're siphoning into, okay? Once again, that's gravity, it's how it works. So that's what I'm doing here. And you attach your bottle filler, you get your siphon started, and you press down on the bottle filler, and it fills up from the bottom up, and you just move from bottle to bottle. And that's what we're doing, that's what we did. And it worked out just fine. Boom, it's all done. Ta-da!
Ta-da.
They look beautiful. The color on these is gorgeous.
But first, look at the organization of these bottles.
There was a lot of mental turmoil between the two of us on fighting about how these should be arranged. Ultimately, we settled on,
Me winning.
I know, having the two tall ones at the ends. And the only reason that this one is over on this end, because I wanted it over here, is that it's not filled. Were it filled, we wouldn't be here. But this is where it's at.
That's not the situation we're in.
So as I always like to do, I end on a note of reflection and thinking about how we could improve upon the recipe.
But you're perfect.
I'm perfect, but this isn't always perfect. So the first thing I would do is I would implement the honey differently into this recipe because we used it in primary fermentation. And I tasted it before I fermented it, and it was like this really yummy honey lemonade. But then once you ferment it out, all those sugars get fermented out, you don't taste the honey really at all. And it's a waste of honey.
I forgot we put it in there.
Exactly, and so did I. So we need to implement the honey flavor characteristics differently. That may mean that we back sweeten with honey, and if we want to carbonate it, we'd go a completely different route, or we don't carbonate it. We would explore those options to get a honey forward hard lemonade, but we didn't do it right this time. That's okay.
Number 2, blueberries. We need more. We need more blueberry flavor.
Yes.
The blueberries. Insert blueberry girl from Willy Wonka.
Blueberries. We added, I think it was 3 cups of frozen blueberries as our starter, and then we put it in, whatever. You remember that. It contributed a beautiful color, but it did not contribute much in terms of flavor. To do that, I would just add more blueberries. I would probably do like a 2-pound blueberry base. We then add the lemon juice, sugars, and stuff like that. But I think 2 pounds is the minimum to really get fruit flavor.
Number 3, Miles needs to do better with the yeast.
Yeah, the yeast we're talking about is the yeast added at the very end for
Yes.
bottle carbonation. Most of it, when we were bottling, was sank to the bottom of the bottling. What is it? Pitcher. Most of it.
Things hard.
I know. Most of it sank to the bottom of the bottling pitcher. God, say that 3 times fast.
Sinks to the bottom of the bottling pitcher.
There you go. You got it. Most of it sank to the bottom of the bottling
Kill me.
pitcher, and did not get into our bottles themselves, and so won't aid in the carbonation. So without that extra oomph of yeast, it's probably going to take 3 months to fully carbonate. So if you're patient, just leave these for about 3 months, or drink them still. They taste perfectly fine that way. Yes, as Sarah just reminded me, the last little bit of information, I know this isn't the right place for it, but better late than never, is if you're going to bottle carbonate, only do so in either swing top bottles like these, champagne bottles where you can put a cage tied around the cork on the outside of the bottle, or in beer bottles with crown caps. Those are the only bottles that I've seen and used to carbonate with. If you do it in a normal wine bottle with a cork in it, the cork will pop out with too much carbonation. So just use these kind of bottles.
You heard him, folks.
Well, thanks for joining me, Sarah.
Isn't it a pleasure? I'm just kidding. It was a pleasure.
No, it is a pleasure to have you. We had a lot of laughs in this one, as the sound waves on my recording software can indicate.
Sorry.
No, that means we're happy. And we had a great time. I hope you had a great time watching. Go watch other videos and have a great day.
And listen to Rainbow Kitten Surprise.
That's right. Bye-bye.